We are live. It is 3:18 Central Standard Time, 9:18 BST in the UK. It's across the Pondcast, the best podcast you've never heard of. Sam, Matt, at the helm, steering us right off a cliff, right into a tsunami, whatever. And as you can tell, if you're watching the live stream, we have three of probably the most influential and special people to our show that are on the stream right now. We have Juan Carlos Bagnell, TK Bay, and Andrew Fat Produce deciding to show up with us. Gentlemen, welcome to the last episode of this god-awful year of 2020. So we're going to start just the way we ended our show. We're going to start the show here while having you guys on. Welcome to the show, you gentlemen. Thanks for coming and appreciate you sharing time with us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
So we are here, and Matt is doing his retweet thing. So he has got his hat on. As you can see, he is wearing his hat. So Matt's got that. Did Mom get you a new shirt there, Chief? Put it up.
Hell
you
yeah.
want to, there, little PlayStation.
Aww.
So
It's got the hologram on the bottom.
almost kind of like he's like it's almost bedazzled.
It's like I'm a nerd. Like I'm ready to battle some Xbox fans. Right, I'm prepared.
Wow,
All I know is you just
got heavy.
Yeah, the way that's set up, you almost like this thing on the arm. You need to have like jellies. You need some jellies to go with that, and then it would be really, really kind of 80s.
I just love how proud he was of the hologram. Like, you know, it's how you know it's an official
so
PlayStation.
proud.
It's a hologram. Look, see, I'm not kidding.
It's holographic.
And of course, Andrew's wearing his beloved Endangered Species 3.5 mil Jack shirt, especially from Juan. That's right. Juan's got his TK hat on. TK's not only got his hat, he's actually wearing our shirt. There you go.
Right there. Oop, I gotta get it in right there. And then if we go turn around.
There you go. And then me, my favorite. Let's assume I'm right. It'll save time. With
not wearing any merch
a
whatsoever.
brand new hole. No, and it's got a hole in it now because it's awesome. The dog.
You know, wearing like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm a TK hat. I got my Mega Pickles mug. You got
So Andrew's the only one that looks like he's because of the way the logo's sitting. Andrew looks like he's presenting Extreme Skins.
Right.
Yes. Well, here
he is doing a great job of making sure he's not crowding.
Andrew can hold the phone. That's his Extreme Skin little. That's the mock. There you go.
I've got a Extreme Skin.
There you go.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Check out these guys.
Very nice.
So we were talking before the show about Juan still catching some heat about his well-established and documented evidential theory that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which I 100% agree with.
I mean theory in the classical scientific sense as like the theory of gravity, not, I just have a random guess. Let's have a theory. No. I mean, we have supplied evidence in a way that we can now create a scientific model that can predict behavior. Theory that Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas film, and anyone else who just goes no is basically completely wrong. So
right.
You didn't watch Die Hard this holiday season, you missed out on a great Christmas film. It
is available on HBO Max, just for reference.
Right, and you need to check it out. And remember, what do they always say, that if it isn't Christmas doesn't officially begin until Hans Gruber falls off Nakatomi Plaza. That's how it works, folks. So once he's
100% agree.
Then you know that's when it really starts. I know the whole Pope, Christmas Mass. I get it. Yeah, it's not as important. It's really Hans Gruber, like basically taking a gator off Nakatomi.
A few more years, it'll be a family film, but right now, I don't think the kids can't watch it just yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But again,
there's so many movies.
It'll be right on when we can show live. So.
If you want a slightly less violent, holiday Christmas movie, Home Alone will probably work for the younger kids.
I like that you said only slightly less violent.
Only slightly less.
Right.
The level of violence. Yeah, the level of violence in that movie is.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like Wile E. Coyote violence, so it doesn't seem to hurt as much, right? It's comedy violence.
I don't know, man. When he's walking up the steps covered in tar and he gets to the nail.
The nail? Oh, forget it.
That's just as bad as anything in Die Hard.
Or the second one with the brick.
Oh, the brick's bad. Or the little flamethrower on the top of the head. That feels good.
That stuff is awful. Shouldn't survive the paint can. That swinging.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Going upstairs. Yeah.
Broke this all to hell.
All of it. There's
Absolutely. So we've finally gotten to the end of 2020. We got all of our phones, and I saw some people had put out some content about like awards, with really cool trophies, and then people put in their words about their favorite tech of 2020. And I was happy to see that most people have pretty much took a big dump on the Duo, which, I did
you were happy about this?
Yeah.
Well, it's happy because it's just like that makes me go, yeah, now I'm even more that guy that's rocking a phone that like not only nobody has, but now even people who is like, you know, I could get a Fold, I could get a Z Flip, I could get these phones, but they're choosing to not get it. So nobody's using it. And not only are they not using it, now they've kind of said they've found every reason, all the reasons that Juan had drives Juan crazy. The reason was why you hate and pan a device. They went right to the well on all of it. And just was like, huh. So I don't know.
Ever since I wrote that editorial for, I technically wrote it for Android Central, but it really got got more traction on Windows Central. Go figure.
Right.
Editorial supporting a Microsoft product did better on a Microsoft focused website.
Who knew?
No, nobody would have saw that happen.
But I mean, ever since
Can't
then,
put money on that.
It has been a pretty consistent, easily tracked surface level. I looked at a spec sheet. I kind of opened the Hinge a couple times, sort of review process. And it's disappointing because it really was, I think, the happiest surprise hardware wise. No one has tried anything this radical, even for a few areas where it's a bit rough around the edges. I feel we've completely missed what made the Duo special. Like if you want a folding phone, Samsung will make you a phone that's twice as thick as a normal phone. And that to me seems easy. Like I just stapled two phones together and I kind of mashed a Hinge in between. And now it's like this super fat wedge that lives in your pocket. And no one has really tried to do anything as crazy as what Microsoft has accomplished on the Duo.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the way Oppo are approaching the rollout.
Oh, same thing with
That
the
looks-
LG Explorer.
that looks quite interesting.
Well, so yeah, there's the
I
LG Explorer and then both Oppo. They're coming out next year, and we're gonna have to enjoy the new mechanism and see how fast that thing breaks. Sorry, I'm not saying it's gonna break. I'm just saying. I mean, anytime you put in,
not this brutal. That was like right to the jugular. I mean, I know you like your Fold too, TK.
I know. Here, sir. Way to go. That was right. I mean, he took the beeline. He was just like,
that's
boom.
That's the show, guys. Catch you later.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you think about it, that's going to be what every other comment in the first bit of all of those.
People are gonna first. It's always going to be that, negative kind of looking into. I didn't mean it in a bad way, by the way. I just whenever I see moving parts on the phone, the first thing that comes to mind is durability, because one of my all-time favorite devices that I got from Oppo a while back was the original Find X. I think, was it the one with the shark fin? Remember when they started that mechanism with the whole thing comes out? I had a chance to play with it about a year later. I borrowed it from a friend, and it seriously sounded like there was either some sand or something going in there. Every time it opens up and closes, it just makes me want to cringe. So I worry about components, especially because we didn't get a chance to see, is it really entirely sealed? How is LG going to do it? But I'm very hopeful and looking forward to see what the next level is going to be from LG.
Yeah, since the first Fold, I think we've had to have a different kind of criteria. Right,
Yeah.
Like you need to take a certain level of durability for granted on a slab phone. We don't get construction grade phones like the Actives anymore, and so now
that's a shame.
As you see a moving part, you've just immediately got to go, okay, don't take it to the beach.
No.
Yeah, we've got to be able to take that.
Yeah, I cannot take this guy anywhere where there's any potential of water. If there's even if I think there's a chance of rain, I have to leave this at home. So it's not even
again. I mean, think about taking a Fold to the beach, not getting anywhere near the water, but you accidentally let it slip onto the blanket that you've got out at the beach, and
1,000 grains of sand.
Exactly. Or for this,
These
or it also
are a bit off.
in industrial environments.
The good thing about the rollables is, if the hinge breaks, you still have a phone. Like the Fold, if the hinge breaks, you're pretty much stuck with a dead stick. You got to look on the bright side. If
you got the outside though,
rollable, and like on the LG Wing, like on the LG Wing, if the hinge breaks, you still have a phone. It's still phone shaped. It's still phone size. You're good.
And also another thing, Juan doesn't understand. Yeah, is like industrial environments. I used to work in a place where there's a lot of particulates and metal shavings and dust in the air, and you'd be surprised if you're going there every day and just using that device. All of a sudden, now you've got soda ash, salt, debris, dust, dirt, and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what's funny is I started to get that little Duo grind. That's what I kind of call it. That little bit on the hinge, you can kind of feel there's a little, I don't want to call it grind. Well, anyways, the other day I dropped it on the floor and it hit the corner. No, it's okay. It had the bumper. It kind of hit corner bumper, it kind of hit like this little corner spot here. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm looking around, no damage. But then I noticed something. It stopped. It's almost like it kind of reminded me. It kind of reminds me of like if you have a malfunction on a 9mm pistol, right? You tap the bend, you rack it, right? And it just like all of a sudden it was like it was a tap rack. I just tap rack banged my fucking Duo and it worked perfectly. And now I don't have the hinge creak. I was like, that's awesome.
The advice you're giving is
drop your Duo on the ground. No.
Yeah, the advice you're giving: if your Duo starts creaking, drop it.
Yeah, drop it. Just tap rack bang, right? That's all I got.
I would hope that a next gen Duo is a little bit thicker, give us just a bit more battery, hopefully a little more depth for a larger camera sensor. But for everything that people have been complaining about, I felt like Duo was eminently successful, and
absolutely.
I think this is probably the best first generation polished product. It's like this by North, like. I'm shocked that these are first gen. They are as good as they are. Now
the Focal by North will be missed. Yes,
especially when you look at what happened with the first Fold. That was a disaster.
Well,
there's been no major. Oh no, this and this. I mean, some people are saying, "Oh, the little frame cracks around the charging port and stuff." But
I obviously haven't been as brutal on the Duo just because I mean, like we've been sheltering in place hard. I mean, like the normal review process where I go outside and I roll phones around in the dirt hasn't really happened this year at all. So the Duo, I think, maybe got off a little bit light, but I think you've been running yours pretty hard. Have you encountered like structural failures that people seem to be complaining about?
No, I haven't had and that's funny because now that I see that, I kind of do this like system check every day. I kind of look to see like after some charging, am I seeing some battery bulge? Like, cause I know Adam from Tech, he started having that battery bulge. So I'm kind of like looking at the plane. And now that if you notice, I took the bumper off and I took the skin off. So this is all natural.
Piss yellow skin.
The only thing I noticed about it is, and you can't really tell, but if you can see like the button is just offset a bit. See how it's a little offset, and it still works perfectly fine, but that's the only like defect I've seen. But I kind of check it. No, I mean, I've got fingerprints on it. Like I said, I dropped it on the ground, which for some reason, I don't know how, made that hinge. I don't want to call it creaking because it doesn't make noise. It's just it doesn't have that smoothness. It was like after about a week or so, I noticed it would like when you'd open it up, you'd kind of feel some like like resistance in that one hinge. After I dropped it, it's gone. So I don't know what the hell that was about.
Have you noticed any weakness in the hinge? Because that's the one thing with my V60. I've noticed like that the hinge sometimes at certain angles doesn't want to hold as much, and so that's one thing I'm curious to see in all the different hinge designs. Because of course with the V60 and particulate matter, like the once in a blue moon I take it out, you can see some of the stuff in there, and you can just blow it out.
No,
but like the strength is the one place that I think that the built-in design is better
because the hinge isn't supporting the full weight of a phone.
Right,
V60.
Right.
Because apparently
propping up
because I was looking into it. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But like the inside of it, it's like plastic is most of the hinge rather than metal. And
right.
To speak to your point, Juan.
Well, also too on the Duo, the difference is you have the equal weight distributed on both sides. One side's not heavier than the other. It's totally symmetrical as far as weight distribution. It's the same weight, both hinges. But yeah, I mean, I can sit here and I have to kind of shake it, and then if I hold it in any position,
I was just thinking to myself, could you imagine if he broke it live on the show?
Right, that would be awesome.
But it's fine. Oh shit!
And I'll tell you right now, this is the best part of it. That hole, and it's not even magnetic. It's just just the way it closes. And I'm telling you,
things in life.
I'll tell you right now, I'm like, and I'll sit there, and today I was at the grocery store, and I have an app that has a list, right? I'm looking at the list, and then I was kind of watching Twitter, and I was walking it, and this lady looked after me, and I was kind of like looked up at her, like what the fuck you eyeballing me for? That's how I am. Because I'm a hateful human being. That's just
that's the kind of person. Yeah,
she just looks. It's the fuck you eyeballing me for. Well, then I just went like this. I went and went. And then I just turned around and looked away. It's just like, who's this idiot? Right. But it's funny because people see me using it. And one guy is that your phone? And I said,
now, to be fair, Sam, I really feel like you blew up that interaction in your mind as being way more confrontational. So you could have your power glove moment. It's so bad.
Right. She was just probably saying, I'm trying to get to the tacos, you jerk off. Get the fuck out of the way, you human cholesterol. in my right. She's just like, but I noticed that one guy actually was looking at me and he's like, is that your phone? I was like, yeah. He goes, well, why does it look like a book? Like, why? He had no idea this even was a thing. I was like, yeah.
Why does it look like a Kindle, man? Why are you holding the Kindle?
Yeah. So I've had, real world use, daily driver use. This whole thing that can't be daily drove is just not true.
You can't use that every day. No, you're not allowed.
One of the
it won't work.
Family gatherings we got to do this year. My cousins, I have a cousin in college, and he had some of his roommates over, and I'm making fun of him because he's doing something on Twitch and his iPhone like can't even like picture in picture. It's like I've got to leave Twitch up on my phone and I can't do anything else on my phone on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. This is a large screen, super powerful beast device that has now been rendered inoperable because he's trying to keep up with this Twitch stream. And so I pulled the Duo out and just like, what, you can't do two things at the same time. And like, it was shocking though, because everyone at that table had iPhones and no one had had seen, like, there was absolutely zero awareness that Microsoft had come out with this kind of a portable. And I didn't get the phone back for the rest of the night. I mean, the Duo passed around all night. No one complained about the camera. No one complained about like, oh, look at these bezels. Like it was just, I want to see, can it do this? Oh, and if I do this at the same time as this, holy crap, if you drag it, you can make it across both screens. I mean, like it was just nothing but discovery and playing with it and just trying out different things on it. And again, it was kind of refreshing because in tech reviewer land, it doesn't have the right Snapdragon. It's Snapdragon is too weak. I don't even think it can boot Android anymore. It's too weak. Right. So, it just kind of further proof like how up our own rears we are in tech review land because people outside of this little pocket community have stopped listening to us entirely. And it's just we're kind of just in a little echo chamber of our own fandom.
Well, the interesting is, did you see Xiaomi's in a little bit of a trouble because they stepped on that same landmine that tech companies seem to always want to jump. Like, here's a stupid idea, here's a dumb concept, we're gonna double down and be just as stupid. So they gave shit to Apple about ditching the charger, and what do they decide to do?
That long ago.
I know. I'm like, it's you. How can you be nostalgic about something that happened 3 months ago? I mean, seriously now. I mean, they went all in on it. It's like, haven't these companies learned from the whole 3.5 mil jack? Didn't you learn? Okay, they've done it, and just go. Either don't even approach it, right? Just go. They're doing their own thing. It's like, we're doing our own thing, right? But then they go out of your way to make sure you make that's a point. And now you're totally going off it. It's been like 60 days. And it's like, well, okay, we're not doing the. It's like, well, how stupid can you possibly be? It's like, what the hell? Just leave it go. Why do you do that? And why do you put that out there? I'm reading this article going, people at Xiaomi are going, God, what the hell are we doing?
Money. Short-term money. We'll make fun of Apple this year. We'll get sales out of this, probably motivate 0.03% of a smartphone shopping community to cycle their device now because of this perk. And we've made them feel good about themselves at the expense of Apple and Apple customers. And then we know Apple's going to make a shit ton of money on this. So we'll copy them for the next year. Mm-hmm. I mean, like it's not fun when the game is this obvious. Right. Samsung's been doing this since making fun of them for removable batteries, for removing the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, now for the charger in the box. But I will say at least that, like, I feel like the rhetoric has at least calmed down a little. I still feel Samsung is the most mean-spirited in their advertising because Samsung will go after not only Apple, but Apple employees and Apple customers. Everybody's an idiot but us at Samsung. At least Xiaomi was just kind of poking fun at this one business move from Apple. I feel it's a little less antagonistic, but it's a bad play to mock a rival and then immediately copy them because we all know. I mean, again, it's not even worth pretending anymore. We all know it's about money.
Oh yeah,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You're forgetting. You're forgetting. It's for the environment, man. It's to save the environment. It's not about the money. It's to save the environment. They were very.
Well,
That's
the
what it
thing,
is.
though.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Don't say anything else. Just we'll leave it there.
Well, that's the thing about it is Apple seems to be at least from what I've seen, is the only one who's actively touting that.
Yeah,
BS
Xiaomi didn't say it's for the environment.
Everyone else
done
just
it.
copies it because of the real unsaid truth about it, and
Money,
so that's very telling, for that argument. So
it is because, like you say, Xiaomi they didn't say, "Oh, we're going to follow the example. It's for the environment." They just did it, didn't say anything, and went.
They don't have to explain it.
The money, their money will come in on these charges. But Orki, RAV Power, all these other companies are going to start profiting from this, not Apple, Xiaomi, Samsung eventually, because their chargers are more reasonable, probably safer, more powerful. I just think that these other little companies on Amazon and stuff like that are going to start coming up.
And hopefully we will see more and more accessories that help Android devices as well, not just Apple devices. But it is a little bit uncanny that they get to follow in the lead that Apple decided to start, but they don't have to actually answer the question. It's almost like, yeah, they did it, we do it too. We're in the same line, and then everybody's going to line up to that. And but yeah, it's sad. It is sad, but we'll have to see. We'll see how new tech and new charging technology and all of those things are going to start coming up, and how fast third parties are going to catch up.
We haven't even got over the 3.5 millimeter jack yet, and now they're starting to take the charger upwards.
Well, and I guess that's my question is, you've seen companies now steer back to the 3.5 mil, right? So I guess my question is, do you think that some companies are going to steer back to the charger, or is that just gone?
I think the charger situation may affect more of the higher end devices, because if you really just look at the market realistically, the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack has been, with the exception of LG and Sony, has been kind of like almost put in the mid range, somewhat mid range to budget price devices. Yeah, look, they're still carrying headphone jack. Didn't mean to. Wasn't trying to shoot the Pixel directly, but yeah, there's a good chance that more so than not, the higher end devices, the Mi 11, the iPhone 13, the Samsung 21, whatever, that may get that big effect, because I think at the lower end they need to entice people to pay money for a budget friendly phone. So I'm not sure if that's really going to be across the board, but it is a weird move to start 2021 with, but it is how it's going to be. Actually, at end of 2020, because Apple already did it.
It's just another thing.
The thing is, I think there is a good argument to be made for environment and for packaging waste. We know that the main motivator is you can fit twice as many iPhones on a shipping pallet.
Absolutely,
are exactly tall. Yep. But what I would love to see is a company like Xiaomi or Samsung. Samsung used to do this, like, we care about the environment. Our packaging is made out of recycled cardboard with environmentally friendly, biodegradable ink. Include a cheap, 5-watt charger in the purchase price of the phone in a brown paper bag. At the time of purchase, we're going to add this. The box is already big enough. We're not shipping it in a box that we can't fit in a little teeny tiny brick charger. And then if you want to spend more on a fast charger, you can spend more on a fast charger, but don't send it in this nice, luxurious printed material, hard to biodegrade packaging. Actually live up to that standard. If I could go into an Apple store and just say, like, hey, I just got a new iPhone 12. I want a charger for it. And I gave them a credit card, and then they just handed me a charger, and I walked out with no plastic wrap, no cardboard, no printing, no fuss. Then I would actually kind of believe that this is a corporation that's trying to live up to the ideal that they're advertising. They're not doing that, so we know it's total BS. But any other manufacturer could do this. I think Xiaomi is saying, in the price of the phone, if you request a charger, we'll ship one with your phone. And that's a different conversation than we just removed the charger from your phone, and if you want to take advantage of the fast charging features, you got to spend $50. There is definitely room here for companies to operate in ways that are still profit generating and still feel a little bit more environmentally friendly.
Or they could even have a recycling program for their own chargers, for the older chargers. Just have the back end set up to be able to do that, but there's not really, it doesn't seem like that seems to be an interest. And of course I'm not a specialist in setting up that chain. That's
and it's not even their entire recycling program or trade-in program in the US, at least, when you trade in a phone, you don't trade it in with the charger. It's always about the phone. So there is, I don't disagree with the fact that there is a mass number of chargers in every home in America that could basically be reused and repurposed. But what really got me at the time is when I got the 12 mini is that charger uses a USB-C connector, not a USB-A. And everybody, unless, again, I say that, unless they literally recently purchased an iPad Pro that came with that charger, none of your old chargers would work. So regardless of how many little chargers you got over time, unless you have an adapter or something to convert it, you still have to go out and buy it. And to Juan's point, you are buying it in a box, in packaging, in everything. It's a full retail package that they are now charging you full price for. So to me, yes, we'll have to see how it's kind of done. But I think if anything, I know for at least one thing, for Samsung devices, when you pre-order, there's generally a $50 to $75 credit that almost everybody gets when you're going through the order on their site. So Samsung may also use that as a little bit of a, well, you could technically get the charger for free. We give you a credit anyways. So we'll have to see how things go. But at the end of the day, it's a weird situation. If the charger's not there, next the cable's going to go. What else do we? So at some point, do we just get a phone? Do we just walk over and say, congratulations? Here you go.
It'd be like, if they get rid of that, if they get rid of the charging port, then that's definitely going to happen. And then you'll have to get a wireless charger. Only that's going to cost more than getting the regular charger and the cable.
And it's substantially more e-waste than a charge cable.
I
feel
throw
out these little pads, and that's a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
Just a brick and a.
I feel another Juan's T-shirt coming on. Andrew's got the bring back the jack. You're going to have to make another one in the next year. Bring back the charger, or bring back the brick, or something like that.
So
the problem Apple's got is the cable they included, because most people going to this new iPhone would have older iPhones, which it's not USB-C to Lightning, the old plugs. So they're getting a phone without a charger for the environment, ordering another charger that comes in a nice box, throwing that box away, then they're left with a charger that they need to throw away to use their new charger. So just, if you're going to do it, include at least 2 cables in the box. Just so you've got that option. You don't need to order
or you can be Apple and stop engineering your cables to fail after 3 months. I don't care. I'm going to go to my grave. I'm going to go to my grave and I have fights with people about this. I have had Android cables on all sorts, USB-C, micro USB forever. Windows Phone cables. When have you ever had an Android cable fail at the plug? No, I've never had that. Every single Apple cable I've ever had that had Lightning, it failed right at the plug. Every one of them.
Yeah, God bless Anchor. Anchor. That's all I have to say.
And I'm just saying,
cable from Anchor.
I'm just saying, it's one of those things where, and here's the thing, there is a model for getting people to recycle. We used to do it with bottles. Remember back in the day, if you had a glass bottle, you drink your Sunkist or your Sundrop or your Pepsi, you take it back, and it used to have dollar amounts. Yeah, I know I said Sundrop, right? It's kind of a Missouri thing. Andrew's going to know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Sundrop's awesome. If you can get it,
I know what you're talking about.
Sundrop's awesome. I'm just saying.
I don't have any idea.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway, but I mean, they used to have it where that's if you want to get people to get rid of charging bricks or old 5-watt chargers, when you go to your carrier store, you bring in your little brick, right? And then you can, or if you're going to send it in, when you ship it to them, and they give you a $10 credit, right, for your e-waste. And the problem is if you don't make things, if you make the recycling process either cost people money or they got to go out of their way to do it, it's going to be harder for people to engage that. And I think sometimes it's just set up where I had to recycle a bunch of old computers, right? I had to pay to have it done. I had to take it to a recycling place, and I had to pay what? Wait, so if I'm bringing you a TV, it's free. I took the hard drive out, but I've got the computers, but I've got to pay for that. So I got to spend, not only drive to the location, but then pay $30 just because I want to be ecologically friendly.
Yep.
But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm willing to do that. But a lot of people, most of them aren't going to want to do that.
California, we pay additional taxes at retail for recycling fees, but
Especially on screens. Oh yeah, for monitors when you buy monitors.
Yeah.
we
Based on
don't
the
fund
size.
the actual drop-off centers.
Right.
So like the taxes that we're paying on this, and sometimes, I mean, it can be a pretty substantial tax that we have to pay on a product. That money should just go directly into these processing centers. I think there's one in the Valley that I can get to, after an hour's drive, if I want to drop stuff off. It's really unfortunate that we're not really doing our due diligence. We're not really getting this stuff out to people in ways where it should be. I mean, like we could subsidize Best Buy. Like I'm going to pay taxes. And then the state government could give Best Buy Corporation enough money that they just set up a bin. And anytime people can just roll up to Best Buy and drop stuff off in this bin. And that's subsidized. That to me would be a benefit of my tax dollars at play.
Yeah, because I went to go to I had 2 old monitors that I was looking to go and recycle, and I took them to Best Buy, and they were going to charge me $50 each for those. And it was under a certain screens under a certain size they will charge us for. Screens over a certain size they won't. And I was that a-hole kind of like, well, we'll just put it in the dumpster then, but really, like, I'm not going to pay $100 to do that, which it's I agree, Juan. Like they should be subsidized to be able to facilitate that, because you know what? If no one else is going to do it, but at least if some companies have that infrastructure set up to do it, then please subsidize it so that more people can take advantage of it.
I feel really out of this conversation because we have that. Places to go, drop-off points, recycling centers, like,
we live in
it's free. It's free as well. We
Here in the
don't have
US,
to pay that. It's completely
Matt,
free.
It's because you live in a socialist hellscape. Okay. We're not socialists, all right? So just stop trying to peddle your commie propaganda.
It's
on
free.
the American internet.
It says Matt, but it should say Marx, more like MARX. It should say
Marx.
Communist Manifesto. God, it's like, what you want to do is you want to take your old Egg McMuffin, sell it, just wipe your mouth with it, throw it outside of your tank, and dump a bunch of waste on everybody, right? That's how we do it here in America.
Egg McMuffin.
You're just upset.
No, I actually wish, like I said, I think
have to pay.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with Juan. I just think, with any green initiative, right? Electric cars, EV, anything. The cost of it's not that people don't want to do it at their core. I really think people, if it was convenient enough that throwing it in trash away, but having to think about it, or then like Andrew taking 2 monitors and having to pay $100, nobody is going to do that. Nobody. It's just not going to happen. So if that barrier of entry cannot be overcome, I just don't see that being. I mean, companies can push for green zero emissions and reduce carbon footprints and talk about that by 2035. We're going to be a lean, efficiency, zero carbon footprint company. But regular people, it's got as always, the economics have to work, because at the end of the day, that's what is going to get them to drive to change. Is buying habits, and also convenience, and also, can I get this to a center? And like in the UK, I could just, if I got like a whole drawer full of cables that I've been just collecting, I can just drive up, pull the bin, right? Just like I do donations of clothes, and just chuck them all in there, and right, they're not just going to get dumped in a landfill. You have to be also happy and also be confident in the process that it isn't just going to be landfilled. A lot of these companies say we recycle it, but who's verifying that? Yeah, no, it's being landfilled in India or China or whatever. It's just.
And we've recently, there were just a couple stories out recently that like plastics recycling, most of it's just dumped or burned. None of it really. You can separate it out in all the little pretty colored bins out on your driveway, but it doesn't always make it to different places. And really, I think it's also part of a longer conversation that we need to have, where mega corporations have been subsidizing their profits by ignoring the last step of the chain. The last step of this chain for any product, any gadget, any consumer electronics is what to do with it when it's done, what to do with it when it's
processed,
over. Yeah. And that's part of the cost of this product. But the cost of that isn't fronted on a Samsung. The cost of that is fronted on local and municipal governments. And so they get to pad their profits out by sort of ignoring that last piece of the chain, that last link of the chain. And really, we need to start front loading that conversation. If you're going to buy from this manufacturer and you're going to buy this kind of product, we've started applying taxes to certain types of products. Now we need to make sure that that stuff is actually being handled, processed, and disposed of properly. And unfortunately, it means our products probably need to be more expensive because they're going to pass those additional costs on to consumers. But that's the real cost of this product.
Right.
One thing I've noticed, so I've gone to a lot of, where I live, there's we have a major university there and they have a lot of surplus auctions, and so there's a lot of technology that ends up there, and I would, there's a fair amount of, I'd say about 40% of the people that are there just to get the old tech to go and separate out the precious metals, be able to take it and separate that out, and it's one of those things where it would be nice for those people, those type of, let's call them entrepreneurs, to go out and to be able to facilitate getting that and separating that out and then putting it into an infrastructure that already exists. That to be able to go in, like Juan's saying, to be able to go in and have that to go through. So yeah, it's one of those things where, like, there are people who can make money, but it's one of those things where you kind of want to have, I think there's an opportunity to have more of a carrot to get people to do that.
The new gig economy, right? Basically, scavengers are basically sorting it out and then facilitating that entry into the system. Yeah,
like back like 15 years ago, all those commercials are like, "We're going to buy and sell your gold." Now
they still have those, by the way. God, it's awful. I just thought that whole, and that could spur a whole nother conversation that talks about, like, just government, and corporate business and private enterprise trying to get together and try to find some way to make this work. But you're right. But here's the thing: if you tell anybody, a consumer, well, you may have to pay an extra $30. Your who's what's it's going to be $30 more because now it's part of this whole green. Well, I ain't paying for no green initiative. I'm not doing all that.
That's the frustration. And there's a comment in here too, and Jim is saying, in my city you get charged extra to recycle. That's the real cost. That is the real cost. The complete total cost of ownership means something has to happen to dispose of that product. And that's why, here in California, I actually supported those taxes to load that cost up front. You buy it, there is no choice. You buy something in California, you pay more than in other states because they're trying to acknowledge that there is an end of life fee attached to these products, and people aren't going to pay it if they show up at a recycling center and get stuck with the bill. But to that same token, the bureaucracy of California is such that I don't feel we're properly funding the recycling options or the waste disposal options. But that's the real cost. That's what it takes to actually get rid of this product. So I feel like we shouldn't make it a choice. You buy this thing, and when you buy this thing, you pay more up front. And it would be nice if there could be like a bit of a rebate, right? Let's say you buy a new TV.
Recycle,
Exactly. You buy a new TV and we're going to charge you 20% up front. And to make sure that when it's time to get rid of this TV, you're going to get that $50 back by bringing it to a recycling center. And then the entire time you use that TV, that money is in some type of like fund and gaining interest. And so that way we can properly fuel these types of recycling initiatives. There are so many ways we could be doing this smarter. And in a very, money-making, money-generating kind of way. It's just, it takes some political will. It takes some political fortitude to get this kind of stuff moving.
And we'll have to see how those recycling systems go. My only thing about it is, so for us in Santa Clarita, where I'm not that far from where Juan is, we do have electronic recycling, kind of like a drive, and you see the lines of people wanting to drop off their old equipment and like PCs and so on and components. So I do tend to recycle my components, but it's hard. It's hard. It's just, we get more and more. But what do you do with the old monitor? What do you do with that old PC that's sitting there that you just decided to upgrade and you built a whole new one? And it's just hard. I have one. I have one sitting in the back right here next to my currently working PC that I don't know if I want to get disassembled or go just to get rid of. But yeah,
I can tell you what we can do. Andrew is you take it out to a large field and you put it on a stump and you get your Remington 870 shotgun. And you take a couple of shots at it because you're going to shoot at something, right? Instead of just plinking rounds out, we'll just go ahead and shoot this hard drive up into bits, and then you can just,
it's a proud tradition of old electronics and water heaters.
Yeah, that's very big here in the Central America. Like to blow up stuff and shoot things with the guns and stuff, right? Lots of ammunition.
That's hilarious to me
And
that
ask
you just
questions
said
later.
Central America.
Central America. Not that Central America. We're like the real Central America. They're just a bunch of posers. Right. Not the El Salvador. That ain't
We're so
Central America.
central, we don't even have accents.
Well, because you have to understand too, because remember, Americans that live in America who think like that, they don't think that there's anybody else that's our name. Forget North America. Hell, we ain't sharing with them Canadians and them damn Mexicans. No, it's all America, man. You speak American.
Yankees.
They'll actually say speak American. Okay, not so much. But all right, it's English, but okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's just, but that whole conversation. Oh, it's okay. Well, it's whatever.
It's the part of the country where they add extra syllables to England. From London, England.
Yeah, and Italy. But you want that Italian dressing? It's like, well, it's not from Italy, but
oh, don't worry. Missouri is probably the best state for mispronouncing like town. It's like original city names that they've adopted for here. Like instead of Versailles, it's Versailles.
Yeah.
Or
anything French
or Nevada, or is it Nevada?
Nevada. That's where we go. Nevada, Texas. No.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, and you have to understand too that Missouri is the only state that has two official pronunciations of the state name. Both are correct.
Missouri and Missouri.
No, Missouri.
Missouri.
And here's the funny thing: you'll only, if you're not from the state, the only time you'll hear is if there's ever an elected official on like Fox News or CNN or whatever. If they're like John Ashcroft or anybody else that's from the state, you will hear all older elected officials refer to as the state of Missouri. They will all say it. John Ashcroft did it. Even I don't know if Claire McCaskill, I think, did it in an interview. And the guy was like, "Are we talking about the same place?" Yeah. It's Missouri, but it's Missouri.
In the letter I.
Right. Well, I think honestly, it's one of those things where it's kind of like y'all. It's more warm of a, it's kind of a more warm, welcoming, wholesome sounding sort of word. That's the idea behind it, I think.
Yeah, come on down to Missouri. We'll get you some gooey butter cake. We'll hook you up, man. Show me state. You just got to show me stuff.
Then you still said Missouri. I mean, it's incorrect. The state ends in the letter I. There is no.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We just go with it, but it's just funny.
Certain context, you can say it. You can get away with saying it without having too much judgment. Come on.
So I guess my question for the group is going to be: so looking at 2021, and let's just look at mobile phones, just because it's a little easier to kind of compartmentalize it. Do you think that we're still going to see the same trends as far as proliferation of devices across all sectors, right? Budget, entry, mid-range, upper tier, all that, or was 2020 the anomaly for phone releases, or is this kind of like this is the new normal for the next little bit? We're going to have phones across all segments, across all price points, and it's going to be just up from here as far as amount of devices available.
I want to say at least 2021 should be if anything, I think we're seeing the number of phone released in 2021. I think had a big factor into it because a lot of people didn't travel. A lot more coverage was provided because they were sending hardware to more people. So maybe that also kind of gave us more of a view into what was available. But I think 2021 as a year will probably continue that, and we're probably going to start seeing more introductions. Actually, there's going to probably be more new in the U.S. market, at least more devices sold at the mid-range to lower to budget-friendly. Because I think a lot of people are hurting from 2020 and trying to recoup. So there's going to be a big demand there. So yeah, and of course all the same successor flagships that we expect that we're going to come out.
Yeah, I agree with TK. I mean, when you play with Pixel 4As, iPhone SEs, TCLs, and then there are other brands. I mean, like Motorola didn't get a ton of news, a ton of ink this year, but they kept up with entry level and mid ranger devices. Stylos, LG made Stylo and K series.
I was going to say the K series. Yep.
Galaxy A51 saved Samsung's ass in the first half of 2020, like hard. I mean, these phones motivated a lot of consumers just to like, I need something. I'm going to cycle, but I'm not going to spend $1,000 on the normal phone that people keep telling me I should buy. So I think we're going to still keep seeing that arrive. 2021 probably won't feel as exciting because we'll be getting refined ideas of some of these experiments. We'll probably be into a third generation of LG dual display. We're going to get a bunch of scrolling concepts, but we saw that kick off with, the Galaxy Fold. You know, so this will be like 2 to 3 years of wacky experimental hardware hitting. But I'll be surprised if we don't close out 2021 with some more Motorola Razr style options, you know, mid-ranger chip that you don't need top of the line, you don't need the most powerful, but will have better price performance ratios, better battery life, much better 5G management, and now we can fold your regular sized phone into a little clamshell. And I think that's going to be kind of the trend of 2021 so far. Is there's so many good ideas in 2020, and we just need to refine and polish them up so that we can start hitting more specified hardware at a variety of price points.
We're going to end 2021 with 2020's innovative phones because we at the minute don't have access to hardly any of them. Duos, LGs, the Wing, the foldables.
Well, but I mean, like this is the exciting opportunity for companies like Oppo and Xiaomi. You know, especially in the UK and EU, with kind of sorting out what's going on with Brexit. You aren't gonna have.
We got a deal.
Players.
Just saying.
No, but that's you're not gonna have.
We got the deal.
The LGs and Microsoft's competing in the same way because we don't know what the international market's going to look like. So now this is a huge opportunity for Oppo. Hey, man, if you can't get an LG scrollable, we've got one that's ready to go, and we're going to ship it to these markets, and we're going to ignore the United States.
I want them to make a Wing competitor as well,
or any kind of like a proper Duo, right? Well, you can't get a Duo, but you get an Apple version of the said phone.
They've got the opportunity, like Juan's saying, that they have the opportunity because LG, Microsoft, they're refusing to sell anywhere else. So these other companies, it's a perfect time for them to come in.
Panos announced that the Duo is coming to Europe in 2021.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. The Oppo, they can strike before last year's Duo comes in 2021. In our market, so it's a perfect time for them to come in and do it.
Fair, it's less so. I mean, like I look at a company like LG, and the more I kind of look into their quarterlies and what they're doing, and I feel a number of companies kind of fit this model. It's just they choose different regions. From 2018 to 2020, one of the strongest trends I saw was manufacturers really focusing on reseller relationships. I know in our circles, we really care about unlocked phones, but you know, a Samsung and LG, probably less so in the European countries, but the customer is not the end user. The customer is the carrier. LG isn't going to make a bunch of unlocked phones that then sit on shelves and no one buys until they're like a quarter the cost they were at launch. That's the worst money losing proposition. So unless they can strike out carrier relationships where the carriers stock these phones, then they're not going to do business there. And especially in a tumultuous climate like what we're seeing here internationally and what's going on with Brexit, the UK becomes a far less desirable market to just ship product to if you can't move it. The product's just going to
right here, man.
Now, I mean, you can only buy so many phones, Matt, and let's, you know, I know you're doing your part. You're way above and beyond, but
Matt's like, I'll take them. He's like, buy. He's he's at the stock exchange. He's like, yeah, we'll take it. Buy. Yeah, 400. We'll take it. Yeah, let's just go. It's like
orange juice future,
right? Yeah, exactly. He's like, he's trying to get the
the customs charges should start going down a little bit. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's just, but I think like to that point is, I think that it allows companies like the Xiaomis and the Oppos and the OnePluses to start
Realme.
And find these openings and just kick the door right off the hinges. And just now that they're there, now they're entrenched. Now they have brand recognition. Now I was like, well, this Oppo is really nice. I don't really care if you're offering a Duo. I don't really care if you're offering an LG.
It won't be Oppo. In Europe, it'll be OnePlus that do it. Because Oppo don't have enough brand recognition, at least in the UK, compared to OnePlus.
That's kind of what we're talking about. Is the opportunity? It can be Oppo, it can be OnePlus. It's BBK. At some point, we're splitting hairs here, and honestly, I kind of feel like Nord is going to be its own unique brand flavor. It's going to be a sub brand of a sub brand. If I pick up a OnePlus 8 and I pick up a Nord, those are two completely different species of animal. They're only linked by a very loose umbrella brand name. They are not directly related in the same way that we would normally think like OnePlus 6 to OnePlus 6T. Nord definitely represents something separate. So yeah, I mean, it's obvious BBK is using the OnePlus label to hit more traditionally Western markets, but at the end of the day, it's all the same parts bin. It's a number of the same engineers
definitely,
and manufacturers and products and services.
I mean, the Nord even has its own pages, like the Nord even has
they treat it separately,
separate from OnePlus and all this stuff.
As they should.
No, it's true. Like Realme, especially because Realme are very focused here. They seem to be more popular here than other parts of Europe. They're in a perfect position to take a lot of ideas, not just the flips, the folds, the duos, or anything like that. They've got access to a lot of money that they can use to. I don't know, it's hard. I can't think of the words. Sort of come into the UK market and say, no, this is ours.
Well, even Poco. Poco is also doing it.
Poco.
Poco is another one that also did great this year. A really good number of devices that they released. The F3,
the X3.
Oh, the X3 NFC, and then you have
that phone is
M3. Just there's a lot of opportunities for sure. I'm just surprised that at the end of 2020 we still don't have a Nord. I'm not trying to say that I'm missing it, but
really,
no, I mean, so you guys have like 3 different Nords already. You have the standard Nord, the N100, and then the N10, and all 3 are not even here. We don't have them in the US yet. So Nord, for some reason,
I thought the N100 and the N10s were going to be specifically for US markets because they're so close to the Nord.
I have the N100.
He's like, hold my beer. I'll be back in a second. And he's like, right here, peasants, I got it.
Might not have an N10, but I'm not a normie, so I have an N10.
Nordic Nord, that's what we're going to call him. He's from the Nordic countries.
There's a £50 difference between the two. So I thought the Nord N10 would have been a US or sort of another market where the Nord isn't. Because to justify the N10 here, where we've got access to the Nord, especially now because it's a cheaper price, it's a bit hard. It's a bit confusing to why the N10 is less powerful, less
but
more
the price is very
and blah, blah, blah. But the price is, if not more than what the Nord is at the minute. So it's a bit confusing.
The United States is super weird for that kind of stuff. I mean, it took a long time. TCL coming in at the end of the year with the TCL 10 5G UW for Verizon.
Yep.
How big a deal it is that there's a $399 phone on Verizon with the full UW 5G support, but you pick it up and it's maybe not as nice as the TCL 10 Pro, even though it has a slightly better chipset. You look at build materials and features and extra stuff on it. So the United States definitely is in a much, much worse position with this generation of 5G, as our carriers are all finding different ways to try and engage in consumer lock-in. So it made perfect sense to me that OnePlus wasn't going to play that game. OnePlus 8 was significantly more expensive in the USA than it was in India. I wonder why. This stuff isn't rocket surgery to figure out.
Nope.
So if you're trying to make a phone that's going to be extremely inexpensive and you're targeting it at the United States, then we're not going to get the Nord. We're going to get an even lesser phone that's going to look more expensive, but that's the price you pay for doing business here in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, I get the India thing because Indian market does seem to be significantly cheaper compared to the rest of the world.
It's to me, this fight that they're waging hit on a couple of fronts. Qualcomm component costs. So you're already paying for a separate modem in 2020. That immediately jacks up the price of any phone. But then the radio and the band support here in the United States is wholly unique. So you can't make one phone for international 5G support. You've got to make different flavors. And we're also really bad at rolling out this stuff. So in 2020, you were going to make this phone significantly more expensive for, 15% of phones sold in 2020 were 5G enabled? Is that the numbers that analysts have been putting out? So you're going to ignore 80% of the smartphone buying market because the phones are going to be priced so high.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reality of what it's like to do business here in the United States. And I think in other years you could subsidize those costs. You know, maybe we make a little less money in the United States and we pad out, you know, regional pricing in other markets, and it all looks a little bit more even. This year, company said, nah, F that. You know, Sony just didn't bother. The phone was technically the same price, but you just didn't get 5G support. It would have been expensive to add it. And then for OnePlus, it was, we're not gonna punish you with no 5G, but the phone is going to be like 20% more expensive than it would be in a market like India for roughly the same components. That's pretty much stuff really costs.
Yeah. But you guys have,
and they had a version that was lowest. They also their lowest entry level for OnePlus was actually, they had a cheaper model to start with. The span of models that we got, they actually had one less that was only available for India. So they really were trying to drive the price. I think it was a very price driven conversation. But it's a OnePlus thing, and my only thing with the Nord was mostly about the fact that, you know, I thought by now we would have it, and it was more, you know, we saw different iterations, and, you know, Juan and I both have the N10, and, you know, and I think I have the actual Nord, the first one that you guys got, but we'll have to see. We'll see what 2021 offers. I mean, we never even saw the
you'll get
Sony
the Nord
Pro.
Oh yeah. You'll get the Nord when we get the Duo, all right? That's how this is going to work.
But the funny thing is, on that same, who would want to get a Nord when it's a year old now? It's the same with the Duo. It's like, why would I want to go to a Duo when it's already a Duo 2? It's like, well, it's
TK just made a very good point. What the hell happened to the Sony Xperia Pro? That thing was announced, shown off, and then just poof.
That tells me that tells me that they might be having some some issues during development with that.
Maybe.
Because if you're a company that's wanting to develop that, kind of like what we saw with Red, where they just kept silent. It's better to not talk about the problems you're having in development than to actually draw attention to it, especially I'm trying to think of from their point of view rather than from what's right. You know,
it could possibly be that the phone could be ready, but the time's not right for a market push for a Pro phone like that.
Well, I guess my question would be, it was like, how
it's going to be
how
hard
much better has Sony performed sales wise with the Mark IIs?
That's it.
Are they really made a dent in any kind of substantial market anywhere as far as compared to 2019, 2018 sales wise?
Yes, because one person I know knew Sony still made phones. Nobody else did. No, Sony still make phones. I'm like, yes.
Honestly, the improvements that we've seen to manufacturing from the Xperia XZ line through the Xperia 1 and Mark II, I really don't think the Pro is a problem with manufacturing. I really don't think Sony is having issues making a baller phone. I really think you're running into a niche of a niche of a niche, and they're looking at what their manufacturing, distribution, shipping, and carrier licensing costs are going to be, and knowing that the phone in the United States, they're probably going to sell 50 of them. You know, to really price it, to really charge
two of them are right here.
To make any money on an Xperia Pro with the profit margins that they'd be looking at as lean as possible. This is a phone that's only going to appeal to a hyper specific micro niche of smartphone consumers, and you eventually get to the end of the project, and it might just be more cost effective to scrap it or you wait until these component costs have dropped. So there could be an Xperia Pro when we start getting Snapdragon 888s, and then everyone complains about, but the 865 is completely outclassed and underpowered, and it can't even boot Android. It's too weak now, and ignoring what the phone actually represents for for mobile broadcast and mobile content creation. That to me seems to be the danger point for Sony operating at such a their phone department is such a small entity in the grand scheme of what Sony represents. And
I think they were their own problem as well. They were their own worst enemy when it came to the Pro, because the One Mark II compared to the Pro, from a consumer's not us, but they were looking at it going, well, what's the major difference between the two? Is it worth it? Sony are thinking maybe the Xperia 1.3. I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe the 1.3. Maybe the 1.3 will be a sort of what the Pro would have been if it has been scrapped.
No, I don't think so. No,
And
I mean, again,
glass
from
version.
everything that we saw in all of the leaks and all of the rumors on what the Pro was, it wouldn't have appealed. The Xperia 1 Mark II isn't even an average consumer phone. Average consumers buy average phones. They buy SE,
The 5.2.
the A51, they buy K series from LG. So let's stop pretending that anyone is out there shopping a $1,200 Xperia 1 Mark II so that they can check their Snapchat. You know, like that's not the
two. The 10 Mark II is a very popular phone.
And exactly, I mean, like Sony has some really great options in that $350 to $450 price tier. So when you're looking at an Xperia 1 Mark II to an Xperia Pro, and the improvements are things like color accuracy of the display, millimeter wave radio support in the United States for 5G, and you're looking at HDMI input. You know, again, HDMI input is something I desperately want on a phone. I'm one of like 0.00001% of smartphone consumers that even know that could be a thing. And then you just add it.
That was a thing.
Right.
It's supposed to be more. So the whole casing of the phone is supposed to be bigger and fatter and chunkier. No smartphone consumers want that. They want slimmer and sleeker and sexier. They want, easier
unless
to
it's
use.
a fold.
Right.
It's
smaller, more handleable, a little bit more better feel, better aesthetic.
Unless you guys want to, unless you want to go double.
There's a fold, you see, unless you want that.
Let's talk adoption with the Pro.
I like to sandwich my phones. I like to kind of keep a short stack going.
Right.
If you put another one on there, you'll
little
have
line of butter.
Z phone that we saw.
Butter.
Just a little bit on both sides, just
some MSG for flavor, because Uncle Roger says you should use MSG for flavor. Sprinkle it on your phones. It makes your phones automatically.
You said flavor. Then that was
flavor.
Great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, let's talk adoption with a Pro. So with production companies, are they? So it sounds like if you're going to get this phone that's going to supplement your use for filming, is it something that they're looking at production companies are going to buy for their employees, or are they going to rely on employees making the choice to go? Oh, I want to buy this phone that specifically supplements my work.
That'd be a bad idea.
Pro. And so I mean, like, I went to that Sony. It was in 2019, so it was before all of the lockdowns.
When you could go out.
When we could go out.
Back in the old days.
I did a whole workshop.
The old days.
Showing off films made with the first Xperia. Like short films, and this is how it relates. Like, we're using the color signs from Venice, cinema and broadcast cameras. And so, this is what's so frustrating about the general techie influencer conversation is we've completely devalued the word pro. When Sony is saying pro, they mean. Can I swear on your show?
Please.
What do you mean? You should fucking know better.
Okay.
No, please do.
I'm not running the show. I'm going to ask permission before I swear.
Let it go.
Sony says pro, they mean the fuck pro.
Right.
Not, it's got like an extra camera sensor and a little bit bigger battery.
It's not, as consumers know, pro. It's like, this is like in your face, kicking your teeth in, baller ass pro. If you want to be a gangster, this is the pro model. This is
feel
a pro.
like Sony should have used a different word because the word pro is so consumer friendly.
I don't think so.
Let's if we can bring back anything, let's reclaim the usage of the word pro
in the right way.
Apple have took that from us. We're not going to get that back.
Of a cinema broadcast solution, like this is the phone you own when you also own a Venice camera,
right?
Not this is just a little bit nicer and I paid twice as much for it. No. That's every expectation. Sony takes their professional content seriously. And the phone department now seems to be working very carefully very closely with the Sony Alpha team. So the Alpha camera team, that is a team of engineers that take the word pro fucking seriously. So
they mean professional.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe they should call it that. Like,
well, here's the thing. I mean, I think that's the problem. The word pro now isn't a shortage of the word professional. Pro is just the word now. That's
a thing.
Pro.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
As opposed to when Sony uses that word, they use it as this is the professional grade. This is like for people who know. Like, if you know, you already know. I mean, that's maybe the draw of it. Like, like for a person like Juan knows the jam, right? He doesn't need to know. He doesn't need to be told what is. When he sees Sony Pro, he goes, "Oh yeah, he does." Oh, yeah, yeah. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. He fucking knows, right? That's how it goes. And that's what I'm saying. So when Juan conceptualizes and when he sees hardware like that, like he knows that kind of stuff, and that's where the phone's aiming at. But realize that for regular grade, normal consumers who are using a phone to do day-to-day vlogging, TikToking, Snapchatting, Instagramming, Twittering, that's not in the realm. It's like buying a real specific tool. Like if you're a woodworker or you're a metalsmith or you're doing fabrication, right? You're buying a specific tool that has a specific use, and that's what it's for. And so those kinds, when you're talking about phones, it's because if you're buying a specific tool to do woodworking, that, like, I don't even know what the fuck that thing is, right? You can go to somebody's wood shop and go, "What is this?" And they go, "It's a lathing thing." And you're like, "I don't know what that is." Like 5 people on the earth, but everybody knows what a smartphone is, and it looks like a smartphone. So it has to be delineated.
And this to me could have been a solution where, to your point, Andrew, like I have friends that work in local news, on the spot, location recording, mobile journalism. People are doing news broadcasts off of iPhones. But if you have your camera team out there, instead of having to buy really expensive add-ons for a production grade camera, a broadcast grade camera, these monster camera systems, I don't know, a $1,500 phone, and you outfit your location team and the phone plugs directly into the camera team, and then you just get a new deck and you're working with software on the phone, and now you've got a 5G connection if there's millimeter wave in major urban areas, and especially around stadiums. That kind of stuff would go over really well, and it's a retrofit to existing camera gear.
Exactly.
But that's not something you walk into.
I remember now why I wanted to see that phone released. Well, it would help up and coming creators as well, because the amount of stuff that it does cost a lot to eventually get to where you are, but that would be perfect for a lot of up-and-coming creators.
It could, but that's also the reality of comparing an Xperia 1. I finally found it on my desk here, an Xperia 1 Mark II against the Pro. Maybe a content creator is going to be just fine with this. You know what I mean? It is a more difficult conversation, but if you're flexing broadcast cameras, suddenly this Sony idea makes a lot more sense. But that's not the thing that you roll up on and you just shop at a carrier store with no understanding of what it is that you're trying to do.
Right, because would it end up being, say, the broadcast, KCRG or whoever, would it be that news station going and doing that investment on the,
that could be, because of the portability. It's a perfect mobile accessory augmentation.
Imagine being given a Sony Xperia Pro as a company phone. Here you go. Oh, thank you.
Well, and what I see in this wouldn't even necessarily be like the IT department giving that out as the phone. It would just be a part of the camera package that each segment producer is running out the door with. You open up that camera case, and then there's this weird looking phone that becomes a part of the monitor and the radio and the brain of this camera to do remote coverage. That makes a lot of sense in my brain, especially for how big these phones have gotten, where you wouldn't even necessarily need to work off of like a laptop or a tablet anymore. But they would still probably just rock their regular iPhones as their actual production communications equipment.
I think we're proving right now why Sony have halted the brakes on it, because we're all sort of, it could be for this, it could be for that. I think this is the reason Sony have gone, we need to just
it could be that it's a story that it's a little bit we'll have to see, and for all we know, if it does end up releasing in 21, it may even come up with more of an updated hardware. We'll have to see what they do. It could, whatever the plan is at the end of the day, as Juan said, this is literally for a micro niche beneath a micro niche. It's so specific to whoever would be able. And it's not going to be the guy that walks around with.
Sony have done that before as well, as with the gaming phones. The old Xperias with the controllers, and they've tried a very specific niche market phone before, and it didn't work. So they might also be thinking,
and this would also only be for Verizon. You'd be
that was the other thing.
I don't get your country's What, like
That's- nobody-
Verizon and Sprint? Like,
nobody
why are
cares.
they
Nobody knows.
It's by design. It's by design.
Well,
They made
and
it
here's the
confusing
thing.
by design.
And here's the
Why
thing
does
too.
a
Wants
company
us
have to make a phone for Verizon?
because it's a different
specifically
technology.
for Verizon.
But here's the thing, Juan. The thing I was going to say too is, in your specific point, remember, not all news broadcast remote teams are urban. For a lot of more sub-rural or even rural areas, the Sony actually might be an actual upgrade to whatever camera tech they're rocking. I'm not kidding you. You should see. And Andrew knows, because we live in areas like in the central Missouri that these broadcasts are not
Missouri.
Right.
Southern Missouri. I'm in Southern Missouri, and 100%.
They're not exactly, this isn't all, not every place is LA, New York, and Chicago, right? Some of these places may actually can leverage that into.
This is what has been so frustrating, trying to tell people like you can do more with your phones. It's because I've been following the amazing work from folks in the Mojo community. Look up #Mojo, and you're going to see so much. I mean, such a wealth of on the ground experience using mobile devices for mobile journalism. It's an incredible grassroots effort for exactly what you're talking about. A news reporter with a selfie stick and a ring light getting graphics and inserts and packages and doing remote broadcasts all on their own, because there's still news that needs to be accomplished. And the barrier to entry on professional grade camera packages is getting kind of obscene. And here's a reporter out in the middle of nowhere, just as long as they've got, a basic LTE connection, they're still getting the job done. Yeah. So that's absolutely, an Xperia Pro could legit, we were doing 4K cinema crop news reports on these Xperias. That's what's really exciting, is we're well past this horsepower being useful. Like it's insane how powerful these pocket computers are for accomplishing some pretty high grade real-time video.
Then that makes me wonder, then at this point, is Sony selling enough for their consumer devices to be able to subsidize the production and distribution of these of the pro devices, of the professional devices that they're wanting to push? And I wonder if that's the other aspect of why they haven't released it yet, because they know they're going to have to subsidize the sales and production of that device, since it's for such a specific subset. And they have to get their regular bread and butter devices to a
I think you've kind of
point.
answered that question, that if Sony, if Sony's consumer sales were subsidizing these costs, then we'd see it. You know what I mean? Like if you could really put those numbers together, which I don't even think someone at Sony could tell you, if any of that makes sense. I feel like Sony's smartphone division is in a place where they don't want to subsidize anything. They would prefer all of their products make a profit.
Oh yeah. I don't think they'd want to do that. They were thinking a few years ago, there was stories of quite a few years ago, about them just coming out of the phone market altogether. I mean, luckily they didn't. But we're saying all this.
Label.
I guarantee you now, Sony are just taking the charger out of all the boxes. That's what they're doing. Just take the charger out, sell it without it. We could make more money this way.
They might do that too, but I really think what we'll probably see from an outlet like Sony is maybe a pivot towards something that LG is doing. A phone like the Xperia Pro would have been a Verizon exclusive, would have been locked down to one carrier, and then Sony wouldn't have been bothered. There
was never a report of it coming out here.
They didn't sell these phones unlocked and have them sit on store shelves gathering dust. So as soon as Sony makes that money with a carrier, I think they'll probably see a pivot like LG. I think the unlocked market, especially in the United States, the unlocked market makes less and less sense unless you're Apple or Samsung. And eventually you all break down and you sell your phones to carriers, and then the carriers are responsible for whatever pricing they want to do. But
Sony Moto,
and then
Motorola did that with the Razr, didn't they? It was the first Razr.
It was locked for Verizon.
One. It was Verizon, and then the new 5G one is unlocked in the United States, isn't it? I'm not sure.
They did release an unlocked first version, but it was international. That was much later. But the new one actually is doing much better on Amazon, but it's actually also dropping in price, which is it's under $1,000 now.
I'd be another thing I would put an addendum on the unlocked devices. I'd say in the United States, unlocked devices are are more of a piece of the pie at lower prices. The lower you go, the more, because at that point people are more likely to be on people are shopping for sub $200, $100 devices are going to be going for MVNOs and prepaid, which are more
Well,
likely
and that's
to
because
have
I think in the
bring your own
United
phone.
States, we've also blown up the carrier relationship. So people expect that they can own the latest and greatest, most top of the line smartphone, and they just pay for it monthly. You know, Unlocked, unless you've got some kind of financing deal, if you're big enough to be Samsung or Apple, where you can finance directly with your customers, you have to pay for that phone up front. Right?
Yep.
You have to buy the phone. And no one wants to, why would I buy $1,000 phone when I can cut it up into, $30 a month for 26 months or something like that?
It is. It is. But it's by design too. I think in the US, I think mostly Unlocked phone even get what's it called, second tier status update. When you start getting updates from Apple or even Samsung, your updates are actually last on the queue of updates that go carriers first, rural, everybody, MVNOs, and then Unlocked model. Unlocked usually is always at the end, and that didn't used to be the story. At one point, Samsung used to push updates to Unlocked first. Yeah,
right. Unlocked was the way to go. If you had a carrier one, you were screwed. You're like, I got to wait an extra 2 months. And I will tell you, TK, that exists currently on the Duo, because if you have an Unlocked Duo, you will get your push from Microsoft directly.
I remember
when having an AT&T, it's about a 2-week lag. Like I've had people on the November one had on the AT&T version of this Duo, it's about a 2-week lag. There's a 2-week because of obviously AT&T certifications and all that stuff they got to do.
No, but that used to be the norm. Yeah, that exactly was the norm. And then at some point,
weird.
It flipped.
They reversed it where
carriers first.
Carriers first. They get the update. They push the update.
Strange.
And if you're lucky to get it whenever it's ready to go, whatever. Like an example would be this. I've been hitting update on this thing daily ever since December started, waiting for Android 11.
Yeah, well, and I don't even care about Android 11. I want the 4K 120 frame per second.
That's all I want, because they're not pushing it out in any of these security updates. So the only thing from what I've seen is 120, 4K 120 on the. It's like I need it. Can you send me a ROM? I'm like, no, we don't have it for the. So the US is still in.
Of course, you would ask Sony if they could send you a ROM. You nerd.
It's like. Hello, what's your ROM? It's like, no. I what I usually try to say is like, look, if you think there's any chance I can get this on a ROM or whatever, a beta build, I'm more than comfortable putting this on this device, because I'm the one guy that you probably, if I do end up hitting a mistake, I'll be the one that brings it back to you. But it's one of those things. I think they came back was like ROM. No, okay, and so I'm like. Just let me know when, but hopefully we'll see it soon. I just want the 4K 120, same as you want. I love that on the 5, and I think the Xperia 1 Mark II is capable of doing it. It's just I don't know why they tied that to 11, because we know it's part of 10 for them. So either way,
it's a bit weird though. Like over here, they push the updates to the unlocked phones, give the updates to the carriers, and the carriers sort of start rolling it out whenever they feel like it.
In theory, that's how it should be. Right. Yeah, no, because in theory the hardware is the same, with a very minor maybe exception with the software. They should be able to push them out at the same time. There's no reason to wait, but I feel like it's almost like the relationship value needs to be higher. So they want to make sure people think like, oh well, if I have a carrier phone, I'll get the update today. If you buy the unlocked. Yeah, and that's what they're doing.
Carrier relationships for these companies are quite big, especially in the United, somewhere as big as the United States. A carrier relationship is probably the highest thing on their to-do list. Like here, somewhere small like the UK, the carrier deal's not going to make a big difference compared to unlocked phones, right? Because we're not a big country.
And when it comes to the updates, I don't think most regular people pay attention to that kind of stuff. I know most of my family and friends, they don't even know what the hell that is. Like my parents, especially, like they have iPhones, and they were like literally. I mean, at one point they were on iPhone 9, iOS 9, and it was on like 11. I'm like, hey, Dad, are you going to update your phone? The only reason they did is because one of the apps they were using to play games with, it wouldn't work anymore. And they got a notification that says you must update. He's like, I got this thing that says I got to update to this iOS 11. What the hell is that? I said, well, you got to, Dad, when's the last time you updated your phone? He goes, I don't know, a year or two ago. Fuck, I don't do that. Does it do it on its own? Like, do I got to do a thing? Does it do a thing? I don't know what thing it does. And so I think most regular general consumers don't think about security patches. They couldn't tell you what a security patch is. If you ask them, what's the current patch in your phone? I don't know.
That's double.
My mom resembled that. She had a Galaxy S5 forever, and then she got a Tesla, and now she is all about. Well, when I get this update on my Tesla, I got these new features on my Tesla. I just updated my OnePlus 6T and it changed these things. I thought it was really cool.
Right. Now you feel like funny. Now they tasted the update fun. They're like, oh, there's all sorts of update fun.
All she needed to do was buy a very expensive electric car.
Right. Well, apparently now, I think somebody said that their Tesla now has an update where you can change, like, I don't know if the horn pattern or you can change the horn sounds. So you can, I guess you can go Dukes of Hazzard in your Tesla. That'd be kind of cool, right?
All we need is a courtesy horn button. Just to go, boop, boop. Courtesy horn. I'm just saying right now. Every car needs that. Every car, because I have to try and like do it with my own hand, and of course, you gotta do it like this, Chief. You gotta fist it. You gotta go. You gotta fist it. If you do this, at that point, I'm afraid I'm afraid it's gonna blow up the airbag in my face.
Or you could do it like I used to do to my kids, like drive Anna crazy. I used to sit there with two hands and go, I could just sit there in traffic, and she'd be like, "Dad, why are you doing that?" I said, "Because I'm an asshole, right?" So with the phone. That's what I used to. I just like do all that kind of stuff with the car. But yeah, you gotta, in order to courtesy honk, you can't palm it. You almost have to hit it like that. But right. Or you can just do the horns, like Mitch Hedberg said about horns, the old comedian. He said, you get 3 honks a month. That's all you get. And he's like, that's gonna suck because then some guy in traffic's pissing you off. You go, shit, I shouldn't have fucking seen Jimmy on the sidewalk and honked at him. Now I'm honks for the month, right? So but yeah, I just the courtesy horn, right? I heard about the fact that you can, I don't know if you can change the total, like you can customize the horn.
I think the last update, if I'm not Tech Odyssey's wife, I forget the name channel, but yeah, she just pushed out a video where Sarah's awesome. Yeah. So it was the whole horn, and then you could also use your car as a boombox because LG invented.
We need more Teslas over here.
Right.
Oh, the boom. Remember one? You just put the car on the street and you drive and play the music.
That's okay, comrade. What we're going to do, like the old Volgas, we're going to make community cars in the UK. We're going to buy everybody a Tesla. We're just going to leave it out on the street, and they're all going to be white Teslas everywhere, and nobody's going to own them because that's how they do it in socialist countries.
I know obviously, I know Tesla's
no keys
over in
like the bikes.
But literally, I swear to God, I think I've seen 2 Teslas in the last 6 months, maybe.
And one of them is SAFs.
When Top Gear made fun of them, no one wanted to buy them.
I've seen them several times.
I don't know why,
but I don't see them all in Southern Missouri at the moment. But that's also just, it's also like there's not a whole lot of chargers concentrated in Southern Missouri.
It depends where you are.
There's none here. Like the people who have got Teslas here, I don't know where the fuck they're charging their cars.
They probably have it at home, but yeah, no.
Right. They're sitting in their coffee shop with a little crank. Come on, just keep cranking.
Yeah, we have the water mill going here where we have to whip the mule to get it to go to the water mill.
They're not going far trips in their Teslas in the UK. I can tell you that because there's not
nobody's moving in the UK
at all.
It's
like no Teslas and no pickups. That's pretty much where.
Yeah, that's all we have here. That's actually one of those.
We have a Ford Ranger, but it's a bit of a smaller.
It's a smaller.
That's not a truck.
Well, our roads aren't as wide, are they? So
that's true. That's true.
Bit of a smaller truck, but it's still a Ford Ranger.
Yeah, it's bad. So, but I mean, I'm looking forward to 2021. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting, not only phone tech, but just like, and also now we get all these new audio. Now everybody's an audio file, right? Because now we got the iPod Max. So now everybody knows like what's good and what's not good and all this stuff. I just
you called them the iPod Maxes.
Yeah, iPod Maxes, AirPod Pros, the AirPod Max Pro,
which is fine. No, I know they're like AirPod. No big.
iPod Max. Don't give Apple ideas, man. For God's sake.
So one thing about
it'll be an iPad with a different name.
One thing I wanted to mention about I was just thinking about with those with the AirPod Maxes are the fact that there's no power button, and so you have to have that case. Well, and but you have to have the case to put them into standby mode. And we were talking about recycling. It just makes me think about how by default, those headphones are going to go through charges and discharges more quickly and rapidly than other headphones with a power button. So that means, at least to me, that means that the batteries are going to wear out in them more quickly.
Yeah,
they're going to become e-waste more
we
quickly.
know this about Apple, though. They always put in the bare minimum battery capacity for good performance when the product is brand new. And then we all just sort of look the other way at how these products age and how they're supposed to be
They'll
served.
throttle it.
And you can't take them to third-party repair shops because now the battery is going to be serialized. So the product will break if you try to get it repaired at some third-party house. And that way, when Apple decides to end of life the product, you can't get it repaired anymore, even though it might still be functional or serviceable. Yeah, this is a known entity. And again, tech influencers have sort of shrugged their shoulders at it because, as long as their YouTube stats are doing well talking about Apple products, then what does it matter? Just keep buying.
We all know Apple can push out they can update these to power off when they're in the case. And then companies like Spigen will make cases for them, take advantage of the magnets situation that you have to use.
I'm still waiting for to see any. There isn't a single accessory for them.
No. I think though you need the catch the magnets, put them into low power mode, so then the cases that these companies manufacture will have to have this special magical thing in it.
One of my right now it's one of my more annoying parts of using these headphones is that every time I put them on the table I have to remember to put them back in the bra, because otherwise it just doesn't, or the purse, or purse mode, I guess.
But TK, I mean, think about that. That just seems like such like a lift, right? Like you have to think about that all the time instead of just being able to push a button.
You're paying for the privilege of this as well. Like you're paying for the privilege of this driving you insane.
That the AirPods Max don't just work.
They just work if you've got the little sleevey thing.
If you have that beautiful bra / purse, it works perfectly. What's killing me right now is that typically with any launch from Apple is the amount of peripherals that come at the same time, which is telling me that Apple didn't really tell anybody about this. They didn't share this with anybody. They just decided to release it in the middle of December and say, hey, let's see how it does. There's no accessories. They've been out for a couple of weeks. You go try to find any third-party cases, nothing. Nope. Nobody has anything in there, and it doesn't look like anything before the new year. So to me, it's a weird adapting. Like, why do I need to worry every time I want to put my headphones? I could just put my headphones on my armchair here, on my monitor, walk around, as opposed to now I can't hang them anywhere because it has to be in that case. And even if I wanted to hang them, then I have to worry about that fabric thing that they have on top because I can't replace that, and that thing is not protected.
Oh no!
It needs a case. This is literally what it is.
Okay, Apple will sell you a thing that you put on the wall that's magically made with this material you can hang them on.
That holds it from the metal side and protects
$250 that you can.
But I think Juan talks about when he talks about long-term durability, long-term use. I don't think that's even. I just don't think
that mesh is not going to last some people more than a year.
Well, CKID was talking about it's going to put his thumbnail through it. Like if you're picking them up and you grab them, if you've got a thumb, you can.
I can't.
Yeah, you can rip a seam right in it.
A company like Apple,
having them sit anywhere like this. This is where my worry is.
Thought of this.
Can't. It's just not really meant. So to me,
do you think?
It just makes me wonder. A company like Apple,
blah blah blah. All I hear is a bunch of people speaking broke. All right, Apple don't speak broke.
Broke or baroque.
Apple don't speak broke. They speak. We'll make it so expensive, but we'll make it shit so it breaks. They'll go buy another one.
Juan's like, we know you can't afford it, but that's okay. You can go and get the Sony's peasant that are a couple $100 left. Then you can have all your durability in plastic, and then you can just, this is for the cool kids, and this is for the rich folk, and this is for the people that have needs.
Exactly. But
you can just
pisses people. This is what it is.
It's not. I don't.
A round table of people sat there and went, "Yeah, nope, that's good. Bra, good. Magnet, great. Low power mode, excellent. Mesh,
yes.
Fuck it, why not? Go for it."
I don't think it's
okay.
I don't think it's a coincidence that they released this at the time.
It looks like Jory LaForge. It looks like Jory LaForge right there.
He's got his Star Trek vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
I don't think that it's a coincidence that they released.
I don't think Apple are going to watch this, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense that they released this at the time where people are going, "Oh, I've got to get Christmas holiday presents before this
It's
doesn't get shipped
oh,
out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They did that. I truly believe they did that purposefully. So that
100%.
people will go, oh, you know what I mean?
It's
And
got
that-
the name
and-
Apple attached to it.
But do they sound pretty good?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
seriously.
exactly what they did it for.
Honestly,
sound pretty good.
I have no doubt they sound good.
they have good sound. They're balanced.
Good.
They're just not well. They're meant to be more, I think, balanced across all levels. So the bass isn't too strong. The treble's not too strong. Vocals are actually pretty clear. But if you're used to listening to anything that requires any kind of bass on this, you would have to put them at level 100 for you to even feel bass thumping in there. And at that point,
I don't like them already.
It's a very hard decision to say. For you to enjoy them, you have to just go deaf in about a couple of years. So it's just, to me,
I
it doesn't.
bass in my
I don't like audio equipment that I have to blast.
Peg, or you
How
got to peg it
much?
out. Right.
How much
That's
of the
been
cushion
Apple's
pads?
business model since the original earpods. Is
It's-
you're bothered by noise around you? Well, just turn them
Where's
off.
the bone?
You're not going to make
Yeah.
earbuds that solve
That's,
the problem.
that's how
Right.
we do it.
ANC. Do you ANC, bro?
No,
Nah.
but the thing is, how much do the detachable bloody cushions cost? Like, how much is
$70.
one of
About
those?
$70.
Do they
They come in a
sell
pair.
them singularly? Or do they,
No,
'cause it
no,
would
they
not
come in
surprise
pair.
me.
I'm pretty sure they would want to sell it to you pair. No, it's a pair for about $60 or so.
That's
Yeah.
$70 each.
That,
You
well,
can
that,
only have
yeah,
one.
I know,
You
I know.
have to buy two.
It fits into the motto, as you say, yes. But
It
no,
does.
from what I've seen, it's the only replaceable part. It's the only replaceable part, and God help you if you got them monogrammed or engraved when
Yeah.
you were buying them, because they gave you that option. And I'm like, why would you do that to a like? No. Either way, my time with them is actually going to be is the days are numbered, and very soon
Short.
it will be back on sale. Let's
Well,
just
it's
say this
gonna-
much.
To the moon, Alice. That was like a little to the moon, Alice.
Well, that's the
Right to
Apple
the
way.
moon.
The Apple way is they create a problem and then sell you the solution. That's just how
Right.
they work.
Like I
Exactly.
said, for
We've
me,
known this for
I would
years.
be okay with buying them. But like I said, it was really nice having CKID on. He was talking about like ecosystem. Like if you're in the ecosystem, this makes a little bit more sense. But if you're just buying it for straight like audio, like TK is like, I got to peg them all the way out.
So
Yeah, it's
what does it mean? What does it mean to be in the Apple ecosystem?
I think
What
it's
does that
when,
mean,
when,
Rich?
when somebody
Need to have money.
yeah,
And $50.
that's a lot of
What does
cash.
that mean? It doesn't mean anything. I mean,
No.
I'm so tired of that being the argument that it's okay for Apple to charge $550 for headphones that perform about the same as Bose and Sony. I mean, I've got Beyerdynamics, Audio Technicas, Sennheisers,
Oh,
these
man.
really classically established audio recording and sound reproduction brands. What does it mean? So the pairing is a little bit easier. Is that what it means? You're going to
Quick,
spend
I can-
$550.
So you can take phone calls easily across your iPhone.
The first time you use them, it connects better to your iPhone. Is that
Yeah.
is that what it means to be a
Yeah.
part of the Apple ecosystem?
Apparently, I guess, yeah, and I guess the answer is
Well,
yes. I mean, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
it's like,
the point of them is they have a line now. They have the
they do
AirPods,
have a line.
the
but-
AirPods Pro, and then now they have the AirPods Max. So
and,
there's a
and
line
it
developing.
makes perfect sense.
for
But what I
richness.
think the scope that I think Juan's trying to go with is that you have to look at what's available. So just even if you just don't even have to go too far, just go to Beats, Apple's own other side of the whole house that nobody seems to be comparing their headphones to, because they, you know what I mean? They have other options. What they did is they said, put that all aside, and we're going to reinvent the wheel, and we're going to tell you that this is the standard. At the end of the day, they're not worth. I don't think even for I mean, look at it this. I use a Mac for work, and I have an iPhone, and I do have Apple products. And even with that, I had a very hard time to justify it. I have sometimes a hard time justifying paying $300 for a pair of headphones. These guys are $270 after tax. It's a $300 investment for me, because I like to enjoy my music. I like to enjoy what I'm listening
They're
to.
good as well.
Across other, but see, the thing is, I like it to work across different devices. I don't want it to work only good on an iOS device, and then when I take it to an Android device, I lose not only part of the features, spatial audio, but also the ability of tuning them with an EQ that is specifically based in there. So Apple's product at the end of the year is it's a very bold move, but that it's essentially what it is. It's feeding into a machine that they produce things with it.
Right.
The AirPod Max are they sound good. They're great headphones, but I think they're priced at a very wrong price point. I think $300 at the most, if anything. And it's mostly because of the features that they're offering. The build quality, I would say, is about the one thing that they have above most of the other manufacturers on the market. They've gone with a very solid build quality, but every time I take it out of my case, I get a clink. I literally have like clinking every time I take it out, and I feel like it's going to have a dent, and I'm worried about it. So, yeah.
But yeah,
what
to
you're paying for. The material
But yeah,
they
to
use
Juan's
make
point,
it.
right? I mean, what does that even mean? It's like because it's easy to use across devices, but then if you're a person who may be a Windows user or an Android user, then you're losing functionality. Like,
as soon as I hear, I guess people who are really into the Apple ecosystem, that's something that you say so that you can please the egos of a predominantly Apple viewership.
right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, and that definition of the Apple ecosystem advantage is narrowing and narrowing. So, for example, like my brother-in-law, he's been in Apple forever, and I gave him my OnePlus 7 Pro to try out and use. And basically, what it came down to is iMessage. There's a little bit of active UI, which was less, but mainly it was iMessage and app, and not so much app selection, but what they had already paid for at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's. Yeah. So at this point, it's very narrow, and pretty much nothing when outside of iOS is outside of the iOS hardware. I'll put it that way. Like iPhone and iPad are pretty much, and they also have like MacBooks. But apart from that, the argument doesn't really stand up when it comes to the AirPods line of devices, in my opinion, in terms of ecosystem.
It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to start with, but I think as what you guys were saying, but it was the timing. I think the reason why the numbers for this did very well, it was literally a few weeks before Christmas. People wanted to get something. It was online. You could buy it, and you could get it. If you were able to get it on the original wave. So yeah, it absolutely. A whole bunch of people woke up on Christmas Day, opened them up, and got a chance to play with AirPods, and were like, but they didn't pay for them. So if they did, then they were like, whoa, what did I? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what is 2021's offering, but I'm worried that at some point or another we're going to start seeing a lot of comparisons whenever new headphones come out. How do these compare to the AirPod Maxes? Because for some reason,
Apple sucks all the wind out of these kinds of conversations because you're going to have a bunch of people that will move the goalposts for the AirPods Max because it's not really about the sound quality; it's about the ecosystem.
There's also the steel. You've got steel in them,
and also just the aesthetics, right? I mean, it's really the look and
you don't care what muffs you're wearing on your ears, I guess. But no, they're always going to do that because they know their audience predominantly
means something else here.
So they're going to say things that make that audience feel better, even when it's a criticism. I mean, it's an excusable, pros and cons for Apple. You get used to the compromises. You get used to it. But I can always frame that conversation in a way so that you feel good about the purchase you've already made in buying these Apple products. And that's the comparison point we're going to go with. And that pads my YouTube viewership. So my YouTube numbers stay high. My ad revenue and my sponsorship deals are taken care of. And everybody's happy and we stay in this little ecosystem. But again, it's that kind of stuff that has kind of eclipsed the greater consumer gadget conversation. And it's why consumers have really stopped listening to us. Like you give up on that nuanced conversation or what the pros and cons really are. And you promise people magic because Apple's marketing always promises you magic, but then a consumer goes and buys the new thing and it's basically the same as the thing he already had. So wait a minute, where was all this magic you promised me? It doesn't open Facebook any faster. It doesn't change my Instagram. The camera's a little bit better. Okay. Well, I'm going to sit on this phone for the next 4 years because you guys have all been lying to me about this magic tech improvement.
Right, and you'll keep upgrading. Just remember, when you get a criticism, you stay in the pocket, you slip that shit, right? They put one over your mind. It's like, it's a compromise. Slip that, duck it, right? Apple fans are great at ducking that kind of yeah, I mean,
I like the Android. I'm going to keep doing this with the ecosystem because Apple's is probably the only actual ecosystem. Because sure, Huawei have their thing, but you can use your Sony headphones with your Samsung, which also pairs with your LG speakers. So there's a bit of more fair. You can choose what you like specific to what your setup is or to some things like that. With Apple, you have got to use Apple products if you want all the features.
Exactly.
That's it. You have no choice.
The
But with
Sony's
Android,
the
I feel like
the
you've
X,
got a bit more choice. Yeah.
the Sony M4s work just as well on an iPhone as
Well,
they work on an Android. You download the app, you customize the EQ.
Wait.
I'm
The
telling
XM5s
you. Oh man.
Take a shit all over
Over the-
the AirPod Max. So
Well, that's why I like to buy my Jabra.
They
Jabra app
sound
is
better.
great.
I'm,
Got a
I'm,
Jabra
I'm
earbuds.
just hoping that they don't take
Yeah.
the page out of this book also, because this is the
Mhm.
if we see the
That's the
historical
scariest part.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like I said, I just like
Apple
to
do something, and then everybody else does it. This is the most worrying part. Is there going to be a trend of, well, Apple can get away with it, while we're going to put our prices up a little bit here and a little bit there?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
It-
come on.
The
that's not even worth
XM5s will be
asking. We know that's
$499,
gonna happen.
$450, $399. I just
And
I hope
the only thing
not.
we can hope is that we start seeing companies actually come in to be advocates for better audio.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
if we're going to highlight anyone's work right now,
Soundcore. do
no,
good
I
work.
mean, if we're going to highlight anyone's work right now, I actually got to throw the shout to THX, because
Mhm.
THX
Oh, the
labeling
THX.
and certification
Yeah.
kind of didn't mean a whole lot. But in this
Right.
in this year, they've started fronting a whole new generation of amps. And if you go to the THX Twitter account, they're trying to highlight these products like the Drop Pandas and the FIO amps and DACs. That or what was the other one? The Helm. The Helm makes this little adapter loud amp that you can plug into a headphone jack. THX has started to try and talk about this stuff because all of these companies are going to get wrecked by consumer convenience. You know, I don't care about sound quality so long as it pairs with my phone easily. I'll spend $600 for that. You know,
Right.
we're gonna get destroyed. You know,
Right.
the audiophile equipment already has this huge barrier to consumer conversations. You can't go into a Costco or a Best Buy and just hear amazing sound quality. Not like you can walk into the TV department and get assaulted by all of the saturation turned up on all of these giant HDR TVs. You don't have the same ease of education. So
Right.
if the companies like Sennheiser, Audio-Technica, Bear Dynamic, I mean,
The LG Meridian too. Yeah, I forgot about the Meridian side.
yeah, but if they don't get out there and start finding better advocates for these types of consumer conversations, and they don't get out there and actually advertise, then they're going to get wrecked. And honestly, there's an argument to be made. Like, I'd love to see Sennheiser's take on like $500 Bluetooth cans. What is it that they could do at $500? And, you know, really take the limiters off. Like, what could you bring me in that consumer space now that Apple's going to normalize it?
Right.
And at the same time, Sony XM5s at like $350. You know, some of the build quality issues can be addressed. Some of the lifestyle and convenience issues can be addressed. And you'll have superior sound quality with LDAC on Android. Make the argument, make the play. But really, I mean, what Apple will do is make it fashionable to remove the headphone jacks so that you never have cabled playback. And that's what's going to hurt my soul.
Yeah.
And not included in the box. That's the other thing. Not even include an adapter that allows you to use these.
Yeah.
TK,
They
all I hear
snuck
is
that one away.
broke. Maybe stop whining and just be less broke, TK.
But
Right.
Did you notice how
I-
these companies did
I
that?
need another
They just
job. I need another
snuck
job.
it. 1 minute they go, "Oh, we've got rid of the headphone jack, but here's a dongle," and then slowly they just disappeared one by one. But nobody said anything. They just they were gone. And then
This is the year.
not
This
you
is
know
the
what
year
I
they
mean?
could get away with doing
You
that.
know what I mean?
But yeah,
Hardly
like,
anybody said anything. I'll rephrase it. Hardly anybody said anything, and they just
Okay.
disappeared.
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, but I guess my question is one like now is because if 550 becomes a new normal, how much better can a Sennheiser and a Sony sound at 550? They can say, hey, you can get this, or you can get superior audio, superior build quality, and these things will
jack
blow you away.
connection. I'm just going to say jack connection as well. Because
If you have to be there,
don't have
Try to make it advocate for yourself.
I'll be
3.5
really
millimeter
curious
jack.
to see, because right now Sony XM4s are baller cans that you can pick up for what, like $280, you know, in the
Mhm.
United States. So
Yep.
I love
I'll
my
have
XM3s, so I can only
Oh.
imagine.
Oh, they're still better. The XM3s
They're
are
so
still better
good.
than the AirPod Max.
So,
It's
but
just-
I'll be curious.
This
What
is
I
what
would
I
like
mean.
to see is Sony take whatever XM5 they were working on and operate at a profit margin in the mid 300s. So you're still $200 less than these AirPods Max. But what could that do for refining the build quality? Does that mean they could add ear detection sensors on both sides of the headphones instead of only on the left ear? What could that do for some of the lifestyle inconvenience when we already know that the XM4s are ahead of the curve for sound quality? You know, that kind of stuff could make a pretty good next step. And then, you know, you could come out with some Sony XM Pros and like actually have professional grade
to go with the phone.
Cans, right.
In a way that we've already talked about, Sony can't bring a Pro to market because they actually take Pro seriously.
Right.
Yeah,
The
that's
Sony
Pros are in
Professional,
fin,
the Xperia
sort of-
Professional with the Xperia M5 Pro.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I feel bad because I've got my $60 pair of Status CB1s, and I love these headphones. For $60, these things are awesome. I mean, at least, they're probably, I'm
I
probably
paid
not.
40 for mine.
Yeah. I mean, they're
You
just
know-
like, I really like them.
And
They were on
you know,
sale, obviously.
there's something to be said too for, you know, if you want, depending on your use case, you know, if you're okay with not having to have, you know, with having a cable at some point, you can just get, you know, this giant dongle thing. But then getting
Juan
a
was
good,
like, "What the hell?"
good wire
He
Bluetooth
showed-
jack.
Yeah, he showed it in the thing. We're like, what medical
stop
tray did you
plugging
steal that off
stuff.
of? It's like, I'm going to go ahead and insert this into
that's-
an orifice.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I mean,
well,
if you really
this
care
is the
about your
world's
audio
most
quality
expensive
and you're
nose
not using
picker.
a catheter, then I don't think you're really on the ball here.
He's living the
But-
adapter life.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I've daisy chained too many damn things here, but just the fact that you could have, you know, you could get a $200 set of cans that are pretty decent and just have,
Sennheiser.
you know, a few Sennheiser. I have the Sennheiser 599s and with a good the BT. Oh, I forgot which one the name is escaping me, but it's the generation before the Theodac that
Theodac.
Juan reviewed, and it worked great. And it's just depending on your use case. I wouldn't want to take these to the gym with me, but I also wouldn't want to annoy the crap out of everyone who's around me in the gym with these open back headphones. So it's all about your use case and what you need. So
And apparently you need 4 different types of adapters.
apparently
Just
I
to
need,
get-
apparently I need to be able to reach people 15 feet away from me with just the adapters.
Like I said, when
Yeah,
he
no,
put
I
that
have
on the screen,
noticed
I
that.
swear I thought he had got that off of like at the local medical center. I'm like, dude, what is that?
No,
I mean, is that
Sennheiser tend to do overly long cables anyway.
Oh,
On,
yeah.
like, a lot of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I don't know what they think we're doing whilst we're connected to stuff, but we can dance around the living room if we wanted to.
if Andrew, if you do that again, we're gonna have to have
GSP.
Benny Hill music.
I swear to
I-
God.
I feel like I could jump rope with this.
Yeah. My
I
GSPs,
love
my
Sennheiser
gaming
cables
headset,
because
they're so
They're
long.
middle of the room audio solutions.
Right.
So like
No,
you
I
have
can
all your
understand
stereo
the
equipment up against
headsets.
the wall, and then
But-
you move to the middle of the room, especially for open back cans. If you,
Right.
I mean, again, some people take this seriously, Matt, and it's okay that you don't.
Oh no, I
but
meant their
You have
specific
this nice
gaming
Treated
headsets.
listening environment for your open back cans. You would want to sit in the middle of the room, and
And I can understand
some,
that. I
some
don't.
will, you know, and it's got to be on the cable. You can't have like an extension cable because that's another connector that can introduce minimal levels of distortion traveling down. You need something that by design can reach
This
the-
guy, he's got 4 different
Testament-
adapters on his headphones.
Testament to this whole damn thing. During this whole thing, I lost the damn end of the adapter during
See?
this whole thing. I
See?
don't know where it is now. So,
But yeah, like
you know.
that's why. Like that's and here's the thing. And here's the funny thing. And I know this is gonna sound. Well, I'm gonna make myself sound stupid, but honestly, when I got the statuses, I got the the little spiral cable, and I got this like really super long cable, and go, why the hell would they give me like a huge? And these aren't open backs, right? These are just standard. But now, when
Same.
Juan said that, I was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes total sense. Now I can understand why I would have
Yeah.
a 30-foot cable.
That's
Because-
not what I was meant. That's not what I meant. I meant
I
that the
know.
Sennheiser gaming headsets. You're sat
Hmm.
with your controller,
Yeah,
and it's plugged in to your controller, or
They
it's
could
plugged into your PC. It doesn't need to be 10 foot long. You're not gaming 10 miles away from your flipping console.
I don't
or
know
your
how
controller.
to a TV, but you would maybe want a little extra reach
Nope.
if you're going like
Nope.
connected directly.
I'm plugging it into the controller. Nope. Doesn't go into
All,
the
all I'm saying is I didn't know that was a thing until now, and I'm glad we have this. innumerable reasons why I love having conversations with all of us here. But that to me, I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing, and now that makes some sense. Why they gave me like even I was like, holy shit, this cable's like 9 miles long. I was like, why would I need to have a cable that long?
I want a shorter cable.
And now I know, and I'm better for it. So what can
I got a cable tie. I got a cable tie for my GSPs because I literally plug it into my controller.
But if you ever need a longer cable, you
I don't think I will.
Hey, the Sennheisers came with the Velcro cable tie because they knew it was too long.
Yeah, they're like, no, we know your shit's too long. You're gonna have to tie it up.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm glad Juan mentioned that because I didn't know that was a thing. So
no, but weirdly, where I sit, my TV is actually too far away for the headphone cable, so it still doesn't make sense. It needs to be longer.
Yeah,
but
Matt,
shorter,
I really feel like this is like a personal problem. Not a problem.
Matt, I can give you a bunch of adapters to reach you there, so don't worry.
How many did you got today? 7, but it got there.
It's like Legos. Well, we're at 1 hour and 50 minutes, so this is
we're
a little bit longer. No, and you know what? It's okay because it's the end of the year show, and we have special people. Like I said, I don't get a chance to talk to Juan and TK and Andrew in the same conversation. So this is something that makes me happy. It makes me excited to have a close of the 2020 year and our first not full year, but our first year of having this podcast.
I've been enjoyed sandwich between you two. So,
right, you're our Oreo filling with your.
I will say one thing. I know that where we are is completely random, but it's perfect that these two are together at the bottom as well.
It was we're the two that live closest to each other or next to each other.
Hey, neighbor.
But then you get the two others. They should have also kind of they're in the same.
Oh no, because I'm the across part of this podcast.
Yes.
And don't forget, if you haven't had a chance to, do yourself a favor, check out Extreme Skins. Andrew, if you're watching the stream, is pointing to our awesome logo. Plug. Check them out, folks. If you want to skin your phones, check them out. They're an awesome company.
Consoles.
They got a great customer service. Even though they're in UK, they still
your AirPods Pro Max. Tough. They're not doing them.
Right.
Nope.
We'll get it
they
on the
came
next
straight out on Twitter and went, "You want to skin your Pro Max?" Nope,
well,
we're not
that's
them.
where you need the limited edition TK Bay AirPods Max case. And it's on sale now for $1,000. Is that what?
Right. $950. It's this flash sale. You get it for $9. There you go.
There they are. The logo now is actually tilted slightly for cooler factors.
You don't get them anywhere.
Make like 2 of these. So if you really care about exclusivity,
so much.
Right.
TK head. TK's head is going on a lot in this stream.
And then you can put like one of 12, and then TK could sign each individual one.
Yeah.
Little autograph. Yeah, buddy. Make it limited edition
We're
autograph.
gonna do it.
That's how we roll
feel
here.
like I'm kind of glad, Sam, you're not wearing your TK shirt because like we've got the actual TK's head, and then all these little TK heads all over the place as well.
Well, here's the thing: you can
your Apple
as far
stand.
As far as I'm concerned, you can never have too many TK heads. Let's just put it that way. You can never have too many TK heads. Right.
Well, you two need to do a collab merch where we have a TK and one head.
Right. Attached with the 30-foot, have it here, but have it like a wrapped around 30-foot Sennheiser cable wrapped around.
And then you've got to have
and it bedazzles with lights in it, and it flashes, right, and stuff. You can control it with your AirPod, your Google Home. Google Home. Turn on my awesome hat of awesomeness, and it'll be like flash, flash, flash. We could write a routine for it. It'll be awesم.
We'll talk
I say digress.
Oh yeah.
Has to
One's
say
like, I'm in.
somewhere.
Where can I get it?
Got it.
And then we'll even have you guys autograph it. So this whole, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, this entire show becomes possible because of people like Juan and TK and the community and Andrew and everybody doing it and watching them. And so it's fitting to have them on the show and closing out 2020. So check out his stream skins. Follow Juan, follow TK, follow Andrew, listen to Brosevs, go on Twitter. And then make sure you go on there and throw Juan some shade about if you honestly believe for some reason that the Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, then you could fight me, and then you and Juan can go at it, and he could hand your ass to you because he's bringing the noise, bringing the funk. So
and also check out the picture that I made very quickly.
Oh yeah, the Die Hard picture of
digress hard, but with Juan's head on John McClane.
That was
I'll tell you what.
shockingly hilarious. How quick
That got
That was very
that's
good,
got
by the
the
way.
most interaction and likes of any of my posts ever.
So that's where we're going to wrap the show up at Red, short of 2 hours. Juan, TK, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show, spending a longer time than normal on a Sunday, and being part of the last 2020 Pondcast. It's been our honor and privilege to be not only tech pals, but also for never actually having the chance to actually meet, us calling you guys actual friends and meaning that in a real legitimate way, even though we've actually never shared the same room. Hopefully that can change in 2021. We can find out a way to make that happen, because that would be something that would make me and Matt getting over here extremely happy. That would be a really great 2021. I'm looking forward to that chance.
It's really weird that I fly from the UK over to you, yet it's still further to Juan, to Sam, than it is. That's how big the United States is. Sam to get to Juan is further in the same country from me to fly from here to him.
Yeah, it's not close. A lot of space there.
It's like,
we're pretty spread out. It happens.
that it certainly explains a lot of stuff, which I'm not going to go into because I don't want to get into trouble. But still, you know.
So
What it
It's
is.
a beautiful podcast. It was great, and across the pond, across the U.S. podcast today, we kind of got it cornered. You got East Coast, West Coast, across the pond. Everybody, we're good. We got it covered.
You got across the US and then me.
Yep, right. The guy over in the UK, he's holding down the fort there in tier 3 or 4 or wherever he's got going on.
I'm in tier 3. Joe's in tier 4. Chris is in tier 3. I don't know anybody in tier 2, so.
Maybe nobody.
We haven't left tier 4 here for a while, so we're doing good.
Cornwall
LA's
is in tier 2 and Isle of Man is in tier 1. They don't have any cases.
Yeah, because there's like 7 people in the Isle of Man in there.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's okay.
That's why
That's
they
all
don't
right.
let us in.
Right. Probably smart. So for myself, for Matt, for Juan, TK, Andrew, enjoy your tech. Have a good rest of your holiday, because I know we've got the new year coming up. So be safe with all that. Still, maintain social distancing. Please be careful out there. And hopefully 2021 is a better year. We can all get together, have a lot of great tech, have a lot of great conversations, and continue this party that we've started off here, and watch Juan and TK's not only Monday show, but also their other show. You need to be paying attention to that.
Yeah, I'm
Get in on
that replay squad for that one.
Yeah. We'll make sure we put notes about that, because if you aren't paying attention, which I'm sure you are, if you aren't, you should be, because really it's a thing. You should be paying attention to that. They bring it awesome. And they had like 2 shows, right? You guys had the part 1 and part 2 was it this week?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully we'll have part 3 hopefully this week as well.
Yep. Awesome. Get in on it.
Once you've
Put it
nailed
in-
down a day, we'll promote the hell out of it.
Put it in your ears and get going. So we enjoyed that. We're looking forward to that as well. So for all of us here, enjoy your tech. Be safe. We'll see you all in 2021. Have a good night. Take care, everybody.